Tracy, KM, Rusty, how you guys doing? Hope everyone's doing well. I was just looking at Square here. Looks pretty good. Everything's flagging, honestly. Right here in Square, previous bounce here. We're testing that level again, right around 60. If this can hold, could potentially see a bounce back up. What is this? Headlines. Looks pretty interesting. Goes to the same setup in the trading floor. Awesome, man. SPY. Oh yeah. Good morning, everyone. If everyone can please drop a like on the video when you get here. Great. No, the play I like for a big potential here is SPY or SPX. Obviously, I'd play SPX. I love this setup. This is one of my favorite setups always. Right, it sets up for a big reversal and it sets up for a big spike out of this wedge. Right, so typically, right, if you have this move to the downside that consolidates like this, right, multiple times we bounce off this bottom trend line. Right, and then multiple times we bounced off this top trend line. Right, if this can break out here and push up and see, and catch on, right, we also have, my computer's lagging. We also have a gap to fill above. Right, so if we enter here and we see a push up to 386, even today, I mean, that's a massive move. What is that? Let's see. So from pre-market, right, that would be pretty much a 2% move, which would easily be 1,000% on options. Amazing setup here. Right, that doesn't mean just full port. It doesn't even mean take a large position. Right, set up, you play this. Let your runners do the work. Okay, this totally can. Right, that's what you need to think. Right, you can't get excited. A big play. Right, every play you need to have the same mindset for everything. I have exactly where you enter. Right, entry is here, price target's here, stop loss is here. It's as simple as that. Don't get too excited. Right, 1,000% doesn't mean it's going to go 1,000%. Putting your house on it. Oh boy. How do I think Japan rate raise will affect the market? I don't know, and I don't really care. Right? Like, I trade, make money when the market goes up, down, sideways, whatever it may be. I'm just gonna play the chart. That's really all that matters. right? So if you play the to keep an eye on, all that other stuff. Guys, I call out everything. I don't know why people keep asking, where will this be alerted? I call out everything I take in the analyst alert section. Every time. Every single time I alert in the analyst alert section. The only time I don't alert is if I'm in voice chat and it moves too quick, where the entry is just off. Right, if I enter at like $100 on voice chat, and by the time I go to type it in and alert it, and it's at 150, I'm not going to alert that. My mic is going in and out. Well, there's nothing I could do, ladies and gents. Sorry about that. I mean, I can try and unplug it and plug it back in. That's about it. Let's see, maybe there's like a filter I could turn off. Let's see if I turn off all these. What about now? Let me know how that is. Oh wait, no, I need the gain on it. Yeah. It's right here. It's drawn out on the screen. Green is entry, red is stop loss, yellow is price target. You scale out on the way up if it continues in your way. Now it's fine, the mic. All right, well, I turned, you know what, it might have been, I had a bunch of preset filters for my other mic that I use when I'm on my main computer. And now I'm using a different mic because I am away. So it probably wasn't fit for this mic, which makes sense. Now there's just going to be some more background noise, but whatever. Right, so here's SPY, right? There's the setup. That's it. This could totally drop down below the low. If this drops down below the low and can't hold, this whole thing's invalidated. Okay. That's how it works. Let's see. Amazon. Right, Amazon also looks very good. A ton of these names have, a similar setup. I posted the link in the Discord. I'll post it again. Right, so Amazon, the only thing that's green here today in pre-market, on my watch list at least. Right, the only thing that's green. So if SPY does see that breakout, right, watch Amazon for a push, right? Strongest name here. I post it there every morning, but this morning I posted it in the trading floor. Right, multiple rejections across the top trend line here. We We have a small little bounce, right? Not the most valid trend line there is, but the smaller time frame looks pretty decent, right? It bounced a few times, so I put it there for now. But if this can break over, this previous candle, right, we should see a push up to 85, 87, right, and then a potential move to 87 or so. The video, right, looks pretty good if it can hold, right? It's moving below here in pre-market, which is not ideal, but we have multiple bounces off this bottom trend line, right? And then to this trend line, we have this wedge, right? This wedge right here. And if we zoom in, right, multiple rejections across the board here and multiple bounces here, but we are opening below, right? We're very weak, minus 1.1%. Right, so if this doesn't hold here, it's going to see some more downside. But if it breaks out to the upside, definitely looks good. Tesla's sitting at the low too. Right, 145.82 is the low from Monday or yesterday. Right, so keep an eye on that low. If that gets taken out, it can see some more downside. Netflix had that perfect bear flag yesterday too, but now we're opening up down minus 2.6%, and we do have a double bottom here, right around 277. So, right, could bounce right here. I'm gonna watch that. AMD, kind of the same thing, right? All these setups have the same kind of, flag or wedge to the downside. I have my alert set right here, which is this triple top rejection. If we do break out to the upside around 64, 62, we do have higher and higher lows. But again, market is weak here in pre-market. So, just always be aware. BABA, not really looking at. Apple, right? Same kind of wedge, sitting at the lows. If it can't hold, it's going to move to the downside. If it can break out, we should see a push up to the next resistance above. We do have this triple bottom here that should act as a new resistance if it does break out, right around 134.5. And then square, right? Show this right when we started here, right? We have a big bounce right off this level right here, which is 59.62, and then we bounced again, right around 60 or so, and now we're kind of flagging here down below, right? So watch this if it can break out to the upside. If it can, we should see some strength and a push up to the top of this flag around 62.8, 62.7 or so. Right, this level right here. But my top setups are, right, SPY. Let's take a look at VIX actually. Right, so here is my VIX chart. I always keep an eye on this. Right, higher and higher lows, lower and lower highs, and we're consolidating right within that wedge. Right, so we need a breakout either over this level or below this level. Right, and then we will see what SPY will do. Right, hopefully VIX moves back to the downside here and breaks 21.6. That way we can get this SPY move to the upside and fill this gap here. That's what I would like to see. But if not, right, if we get new lows here today, right, we're most likely going to move down to around 374. Oh no, wait, I moved it to the wrong line. 373.6, which is this low. But one of my favorite reversal patterns is right here. Always happens. Okay. Can I take a look at Lulu? Sure. I haven't looked at Lulu in a long time. You see a Head and Shoulders on the weekly. I mean, what kind of trading are you doing? If you're trading on the weekly, then that's should not be trading anything shorter than like 6 months on options at least. Yeah, definitely left shoulder, head, right shoulder. But still, it's if you want to trade, long term, it's more about the financials of the company. Let's take a look at ES. So ES, right, just moving to the downside slowly but surely. Don't really like the setup or the price action on it, honestly. Let's take a look at pre-market data. So look at pre-market here. It rejected that 380.41 level that I mentioned, right? Previous support, previous resistance. It rejected it in pre-market 3 times in pre-market, right? So if it could break over this level, 380.41, should push out. Do I ever trade a month out? Overall spot trends down? Nope. I do not. I like to be in control of my money. All right? If you swing, you have no control over your money. And also the reward is way, way lower. Right? I would rather just trade shares. All right, so what I do, right, on my long-term portfolio is, right, let's say I have, for example, Apple shares at $132, right, which is what the current price is. All right, I'll give everyone a little tip here. Let's say I have Apple shares at $132, right? And I believe that we're going to see some more downside over the next few months, right? And I want to take a hedge, right? So for example, let's say I had 100 shares, right? 100 Apple shares, which is about $13,200, right? If I wanted a hedge with options, right, what I could do is I would take, right, or probably like a 132 or a 130 strike for 3 months out, just hypothetical. But 3 months out, right, you risk about 5% of your current position, and you take puts, right, about 3 months out. That way, if it moves to the downside, you can have that leverage on options and hedge with a small percentage of your position, right? And if it ends up moving to the upside and you lose it, right, you only lost 5% of your position on Apple, and you gain the money back on the shares. Right, so that's how you would hedge in a down market, and you can end up making more when it moves to the downside, because options is obviously leveraged. Everything's times 100. Okay. There's multiple ways, right? You could sell options if you have over 100 shares and collect the premium, but then, right, you have the risk of being assigned the 100 shares. So everything has its risk. I like to just, play the, the trend. Walmart. They got a price upgrade. Surely. So the first thing I would notice, right, is this previous resistance. Right. If there's anywhere where we're going to reverse, it's going to be right now. Right. If this doesn't hold, we're going to see a push back down to this level here. Right. Previous resistance, previous support. So if this doesn't hold, we're going to move back down to this level here. Okay. Price upgrades and all that are great. I don't really focus on them though. In my opinion, when a bank price upgrades and all that, they want retail investors to jump in and they exit. That's how I see it. It's all a scam. But obviously everyone has their own opinion. These new lows on Amazon do not look good. Needs to reverse here. Let's see what SPY's doing. SPY's are still hovering here. Does anyone have any questions about trading in general, as opposed to any charts or something? Let me know. But this is going to be the main setup I watch at open, SPY, right? And I'll just trade SPX on it. Right, same thing here. So, good question. Can you explain if you're trading the trend and the trend is down, why are we looking for calls? It's all about risk to reward, right? If I'm looking at puts here, yes, it's continuing with the trend. But, the trend is to the downside. Calls will have volatility, right? Meaning the options are cheaper, right? So if you find a pattern that's signaling a reverse, premiums are going to be cheaper. And if it does break out, that means IV is going to spike and you're going to get the largest increase on options, right? On calls. In a sign of a reversal in a downtrend, right? Because if this breaks out, right, IV is low here, which means options are cheaper than what they should be, right? So there's like a price difference, from the market, right? So we can get cheap options and we see a big potential move to the upside, right? There's a large above, right? If I take calls here, right, my price target's all the way up here and my stop loss is right here. Right, my risk to reward is over. Okay. That's why we look at it, right? If we're looking at puts, right, we're just going to be playing the breakout below for a small gain, right? Yes, it's continuing the trend, but right, this has the best risk to reward and the highest reward possible for a decent amount. Right? That's why we look for that. Any tips on timing better entries? Just make sure you have a plan in place, right? Like right now, I have my plan in place. I'm gonna follow this exact plan, right? If we break out over this level, I'm gonna enter, right? And I'm gonna scale out as we approach resistances, right? And then my final price target's here, right? And if I enter here and it pulls back and it hits my stop loss zone, I'm out. It's easy as that. Trading is extremely easy. You just need to plan for it. One trader's in calls and one's in puts. And, do what you think is best. Everyone's going to have a different opinion. There's multiple ways to make money. Even if we're in puts and one's in calls, you can both make money, right? Depending on how long the setup that you plan on taking, right? Pick if someone that takes calls is 10 strikes out of the money and the person that takes puts is, based in the money, easily can both make money. And there's totally different risk to rewards. There's so many different ways to make money. I like the time frames right here at the top. I typically stick to between 5 and 30 minutes. Okay. And I constantly switch back and forth. Amazon's now up almost 0.5% here in pre-market. Two minutes to market open. Let's switch over to the Discord. I will be on voice chat. I'll see you guys there. Appreciate you as always.